you still have a door on
We did pretty good for starting late.
I got 6.
We're ready. And so that's there.
We're recording?
Yeah.
All right, 6 o'clock. I'll call forward this Columbia City Council meeting, Tuesday, November 14th, 2023, 6 p.m. Welcome, everybody. We have a few people in the audience, please. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance and prayer reading with President Fox, Councilmember Phil Johnson. You guys.
Dear Father in heaven, we're very grateful to be gathered here today as members of this great community. We're grateful for the opportunity we have to work with this city and work in the administration of this city. We ask that you please bless us tonight and might have thy spirit be with us as we discuss city business, that you might do what's best in the best interest of those who have been entrusted to act on their behalf. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Item 1B is taking correcting conflicts of interest. The council have a chance to review the agenda and conflicts.
Sorry. Oh, we did it ourselves.
All right, and move on to 1C there. Public comments, questions for the mayor or council. Being none, member of the public wish to address this. And now we'll move to consent items. Item 2, minutes of October 24th, 2023, open and reclosed meetings, and November 4th, 2023. Bills of the city. Any questions, changes on the minutes?
I thought I just had a charge account.
Any questions on the bills?
May I make a motion that we approve the consent items?
Second. Motion by Eric, second by Nelson for the discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. And 3 is water rate adjustment request. Discussion and possible consideration regarding a petition from Alexis. Is that right? Number 4903, 4903. Full tax drive for use of the water bill adjustment policy as outlined in City Code 13.42. Nice.
A little bit. They had a leak this summer, roughly 5 to 6 months. Some of that you have to work through. They notified the city. We came up, the water staff met with them, sort of identified, helped look for the leak. Even though it's outside of our general system, we always go into HOAs and sort of help assist. Eliminate those so you're not having the water loss. So they went up, sort of helped identify the leak. They tried to get it fixed. Other issues. About a month or so later, identified the second leak. Got that one fixed, but we did the verification, sort of following that process. The leak credit was mentioned, but even though they're outside of the system, it hasn't historically been given to the HOAs because they're not under your system umbrella as individuals. However, up in Pole Patch, setup's a little different because most of HOAs don't have individual meters at every home. You just have a master meter that enters. So when the leak credits were given, they were generally given to the HOAs that we send in the bill to. So in this instance, and they will correct me if I'm wrong, they petitioned sort of the HOA that this happened, the city does this for their customers that are directly metered by them. Is there something you could do? They kind of hold their credit because you have the 5-year timeline on it for when they have have, such as the fire, or any big water main breaks, that's usually when the HOA uses their credit is on the overall system of the HOA. But they pass on the leaks on the individual side, it sounds like completely. So with,
I just question right there. If they're not metered, how does the HOA know how much to pass on?
so whole patch is different, they have individual meters, so we bill the HOA as a whole from a master meter. And then they do their own meter reading, inside of the subdivision. And then pass on their pump fees and anything else that runs through their meter based off their own fee scale.
Not fixed yet, just the wheels.
Secret.
Yeah.
So guys, I'm reading this code and it says the city water superintendent can grant the adjustment. Is this the city, is this city council voting issue or is this something that's, are you the
So we
city
were,
water superintendent?
just overrun
My
technically, but that was the consensus in-house was that you would deny it because it's technically outside of your normal parameters. So technically, it was a denial in that regard because it was outside of your normal use of this policy. It's always just been,
Okay,
once
so,
we're in control of it, have all the backup information that,
yeah, I just wanted, so it was denied because it says it can be appealed to us. Is that what's going on? Then? Is this
Yeah.
appealed?
What's the amount we're talking?
so that we haven't done yet, but we were talking in-house. The adjustment factor. So that's based off of, us having some part in their meter usage, seeing that individual usage every month, all year long. So if you have, one of our meters would be flagged, say if they jump from 6,000 to 30, they would create a work order and then staff would go up as the city's part in trying to help identify leaks and ensure that, the homeowner is notified as soon as possible to give them the chance to get it corrected to kind of limit that loss rate. And so the thought was, well, if you put in, figuring that out, and because you're not billing them as individuals, our account is with the HOA. We'll have to figure out how you would address that. If you so chose to move forward, there's some issues we would have to work out to
The HOA is not willing to build this bigger done. I mean,
that's my understanding is that they were told that, no, it was on your side of the meter and it's your sole responsibility.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, do we have an estimate on the amount of, I'm looking at this default water rates, so are we talking like 200,000 gallons, 50,000 gallons, like what is the range that we're kind of talking about?
So the bill of the totals in the 7,000, but we have to put together their,
Field 7,000.
yeah.
So then it must have been,
So we would have to figure out their monthly usage. So those things aren't something they sent us.
The 7,000 is all of it as a whole.
The water portion,
just this one house.
Just the one house or the entire HOA? Or it's,
just there.
oh,
Yeah, we're just talking about the hammers. Not the HOAs. But that's some of the stuff we have to iron out because we don't just have all that data in-house readily. So if you put in the work with everything going on to identify and build all that, and then come here and there's not interest in, giving them that credit, then.
I feel that we don't have enough information really to act at this point, but, you know, if this is 5 or 6 months going down, the road, I can understand if you have, in 1 month I'm paying $6,000 or 6,000 gallons, like you said, the next month I'm 30,000 gallons. That is a problem. That's a leak. We identified it because of the meter. But then, you know, to go on, I don't know if the meters are, if they're getting a report every month.
We don't read their.
No, I know, but that's the data. So, because I would say that, you know, a month, I can understand that, because we've identified a problem, let's get it fixed. But I don't know, you can be responsible for 5, you know, whatever the time frame is, I haven't know that either.
Some of ours in-house, they extend that long, so that's what we was saying, case part of that is with the winter months, they didn't read, just like we don't, that's why we're moving to the auto read. Because the longer your winter goes on, the longer you don't have meter data. So a lot of ours are sort of get into those longer time frames because you stopped reading in end of November, and like this
So
year, we
you're
didn't start again.
Legally, I'm not sure how, okay, because we have agreement with HOA. They have an agreement with each of the homeowners. And provide them water through a private water system. I'm not sure that we have the ability to bypass and go directly to the homeowner. I mean, their fight should be with the HOA, and I don't know what they've told you. Probably nothing. Yes.
From the HOA or the Hammers.
The Hammers to the HOA.
My understanding is they said no. I don't know if you want to speak to that part. Yeah, the HOA just
Yeah,
said that
sorry. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, so when we addressed this with the HOA, they essentially said, kind of what Tyson's explaining is that, them as an entity are able to file for, the credit. And so with us being the individual, they said this is something we have to take to the city, because the HOA needs to reserve this right as an entity for the credit. And so, basically, you know, what happened was it was about 4 months of billing. We got our first bill after that month, and so we called the city, we had someone come up, and they looked at it, they helped us adjust our stop and waste. And then we got the next month's bill, and we're like, well, what happened? And then, you know, we were able to have Tyson come up, kind of walk the property, and as we were examining the stop and waste again, he heard a sound. He's like, that doesn't sound right. There shouldn't be a noise that's coming out of it. And so ultimately, we were able to finally get an excavator to come up and dig it out and dig it down. Hey, there's a leak here, and that was about the time the third month of doing had come out. And so by the time we got it corrected, it was essentially 4 months. So we were just kind of monitoring what those 4 months were for us the prior year, which is about $800, and then these 4 months was about $8,600 of water, and obviously so the leak goes happening. So, that's what we done. We have a main line that comes down into the property, and then it splits off to go to the house, and then we have a barn and an area for horses that has water ran down to that, and it was just at that point where it was split off. And it was just happening.
Well, it seems like, I'm not sure how to resolve this, because
Do we know what the actual cost, what is the, forgive my ignorance here, what's the actual cost to the city on this? Like, are we paying a rate to Pineview for that water? Is there any out-of-pocket costs? Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. So do we have a fixed cost that we associate per gallon on?
I mean, it would be your 1,000-gallon rate.
Yeah, that's what we charge the resident, and I'm just wondering, is that a lost cost to us, or is this?
So there's certainly. That's pretty hard to calculate.
We're-
But like I've had a water leak.
Well, look, what I said is, cost of delivery system is the fixed cost.
Yeah.
Which is the base rate, and then you know, the base rate is. You know,
And so we're calculating our costs, our bottom line costs at $7 per thousand.
that's what it costs to run the well, pump it up.
All
Okay.
your operating and
I've never had a bill quite that large, but when I've done water in the past, it was something that I worked at the city, and that we ignored things like this.
And I'm not sure how to navigate that.
But I don't really think to it.
Well, and that was sort of the consensus with the workload and everything going on currently. If there are pieces you would have to really dig into to figure out how you would even do it. So if you know, spend that time, then it's just, we don't feel that that should even be extended to them because, you know, to me, the money part, I mean, we do write-offs all year long for the same reasons, and sort of the same scenarios, that's pretty common. To me, it's more about, do you want to extend the credit or not so much that cost part, because that's what it's built for, it's that. To me,
Yeah, I mean, I don't see anything in the code that says it can't be, so unless our contract with the association says that something else, you know. It doesn't explicitly say it can, but that's not what the law is.
Right.
It doesn't say it
And I
can't.
don't think it's right that the HOH. You know, our residents.
I- Yeah, and they're doing that, so they're trying to keep their 5-year, once every 5-year credit in their
I
pocket.
get that, but still, it's.
So it's a contract issue, maybe we need to do with them, it's not much we can do this.
And then maybe we can adjust our policy, but I agree with Steve, right now we have the information. If we're thinking of extending something, that's what you're looking for, is like. Yeah. We'll see what. Who's gonna calculate what it would be. I mean,
yeah, if there's interest in extending it, then we could, you know, you would put in the work. But if it was, no, we don't feel that, you know, in this setup and circumstance that we should be extending it because of the HOA element. That element to this particular situation, because it's not even an option in the other ones, so that's the hard part is.
That's
other
what I
ones
was gonna
don't have
say,
to explain.
you know, maybe we need to adjust the policy a little bit, or at least clarify it. This HOA is a little different because they can identify a right to own home, because they do the meter. All our HOAs aren't like this. So,
The only other HOA that's in that setup is the one we already took over for some of the same reasons. So that's part of the talks with the pole patch is the ultimate goal. It's still on our list. Jones just picked up a new engineer to help get that back on track. We're under that agreement to build that fee schedule to make the special use to take that area over for some of those reasons, so.
sure.
So, I used to be on the water before the city took over all the water system.
Right.
And on occasion, we would have residents come in with a leak that the meter usage got crazy and it wasn't our fault, well, it was the property, and you got it fixed. And we would say, okay, we'll adjust this. You're not gonna pay this amount, but how about this?
Right.
So we did that.
And we've done that.
In this case, where we're dealing with an HOA, the HOA is the one that should say, oh, why don't we be good citizens and help out the hammer with this? The city has no obligation to say, we're gonna be good people and be a part of this debt. The city doesn't need to do that. It's the HOA that should. Not out of the city funds.
So yeah, so I'm just thinking, if the association would pay it, or would appeal the credit, but they're not doing it because of that once every 5 years, then maybe that's the issue that doesn't identify. Maybe Pole Patch has an exception to that once every 5 years. Thing. If my house does and my neighbor has one every 5 years, then Pole Patch is probably have one every 5 years.
Which is required. So is there,
That would be tough, just thinking of some of the HOAs, because I would think you would have to build it as a whole of the HOAs. If you were gonna change that timeline, because they would all argue that I have a greater system. So technically, for example, the White Barn is, you're talking 87 units in there, so their system's technically bigger overall than Serve, and they break probably more than once a year. And so to them, they would want an extended time on that credit too, for probably that same argument that, well, I have a greater system, I should get more
are they all
opportunities.
individual meter?
No, not the homes. No, they just run straight, there's a bill as a whole.
Sure. Spots, no. But
Yes, but so that one's different because we operate the whole water system
Well,
there.
And, yeah, another thing with Pole Patch is that they also use coronary for irrigation. And so Whiteland doesn't, so there's a bigger consideration within Pole Patch because it's not just drinking, it's also irrigation.
Yeah, so your usage factor would be higher. You'd have to work out, because our normal one, your summer, or your usage part of this equation would stay pretty similar, where Pole Patch is gonna have a huge spike every summer. So for your 12-month average, it's gonna be thrown off because of those high usage based off of the landscape. So I don't know how much theirs jumps individually, but that would be a factor for all of that.
When did the meeting happen?
I think it was identified in May. That sounds right.
The first.
Yeah, I think that's about when they first got the read meters up there, was
Was
in
the
May.
first one, and then they went back in June.
So some of the leak was earlier on, you don't know when it started because it was during those snow months.
It's really, so it was really just dependent upon accessing it, and we had snow for so long this year.
A lot of that leaks hiding in that snow.
What's the council wish to do? I mean, we don't have a whole lot of understanding.
I'm just one, but I still feel we don't have enough information, we don't have exact numbers or anything. I feel we need to do something. I mean, if I were a resident, I came in and I'm holding and feeding my case. I definitely want to do something, but I feel, it's like Phil said, the HOA has to have something there for that first line of help. And if they're just absolutely saying no, then I don't feel that it's our responsibility or due diligence to give that help. I think it needs to go back to the HOA, and I'd love to see their official policy or their official statement and bring that back. Have that in front of us as well, to see what they're willing to do, what they're not willing to do, and I'd like to see some exact figures. So, and then, May when it started, June, July, August, whatever it was, till it was finished. In order to even consider it for me, I need, as a fact, I can't say.
We have that.
Well.
We're just targeting as well.
Yeah.
I would say we table this, because I don't have enough information.
So do you want to instruct Tyson to get more information, or I mean,
That's
that's what it's basically saying. He has to.
It has to be there, but I think really, the majority of this really goes back to the HOA, and that's always been the problem. Even you guys down there, your votes are private. And I don't, I mean, we made that private, so don't come to me when, you have a problem with the votes. I mean, it's just that same thing, you have that all the time, everybody doesn't want to pay for the city to be part of it, so they want their own.
They realize that Frank's only be more and more.
And so then you're 10, 15, 20 years down the road, well, it's hard to take care of it now, I'll just turn over the city, well, no. do that. I'm using the picture as an example, it's a good guy, but. You know, this has been an ongoing phase for Colfax for a long
Well,
time.
Terry puts the same example too, we have other areas we can see, but the hard thing is, well, we know that the HOA is first line, we can't force them to do anything.
No, we can't, but then why is that falls to us?
It's not, because they have no.
But we want to be, you know, we're voices of the public.
Sure, we can ask
And
them.
I want, ask those people, 100%, I would take that $7,
Yeah.
and I want someone else to pay for that, if I were you,
But
you know, but. I don't know, that's where I am, I just don't feel like I don't have nothing to issue with that.
And
Yeah, I would like an information piece from Tyson, and I don't know if there's any way we can have, like I said, kind of the HOA society come in and talk to us as well as part of that.
I was gonna say, I mean, we would prefer like a written statement, what's the best thing to get from them?
I mean, whatever they'll give us, we're gonna take her from here in person. I also like that part of the table, it's requesting that the HOA give us some kind of information on their stand, their policy, their contracts, what, you know, what's their stand, will be part of my table request.
So Sean, we agree with this, Sean.
Because, you know, we provide that water. That's the big it goes, that's where our stuff stops, really. And I mean, I think it's good that Tyson and staff enough to help, because
They're,
they're not, you know, that's not.
Yeah, he came on his own time.
So, you know, that, but we want to be, you know, you guys are still part of the public, you know, you pull that. I mean,
well, that's the problem. I mean,
no, it is. I mean, you're still, and that's why the meters, you know, we are, I think we metered all year long, now, we don't.
Just
They meter,
the ones that
yeah.
are very little over that.
So we operate those all the time, we don't have the,
they just were.
Yeah, so half of our services.
so we're trying to do the outreach for that exact reason, because it was.
an outreach from Colfax. Makes matter.
No, the map for meters. These buildings, they're big enough that you can do it on master, just. Meters.
And then.
You spend all.
But unless it's
Big enough.
Distributes that.
Yes. Already that we can't do that.
A couple people mentioned cabling, and they haven't had an official motion, so.
I'll make it. How does the council feel? I didn't know.
Well, I still don't see anything that prevents us from extending it. I don't think it needs to be the association. I understand the can of worms that can open, but I think we can fall back on individual meeting. I don't see anything that says that only the association can bring this petition.
But how can you say that, though? I mean, it's not our custom, really.
So it's
He's-
petitioners.
He's not our, it's not our
The
custom.
petitioner, but
He's a citizen.
that
Citizen.
kind
But
of.
the thing
Well,
he's not, or, aren't really our contractors with both that.
Contract, but doesn't say anything about contract, it says petitioner who resident in the city, voter in the city. Comes, I mean, it doesn't define petitioner as somebody who has a contract with the city. So that's what I'm saying, I don't see anything in here that prevents him from being a petitioner. Now, the can of worms it opens up is everybody that has a sprinkler break in White Barn comes to us and says, I want one too, and I think the only thing you can fall back on then is individual meter. You can say, whole patch is individually metered, that's why
but
we
then why
extended
can't
it.
we play if they're not forced to put it out with their children?
I
We shouldn't become the,
Well,
you know, the.
but in this circumstance where the association's just gonna say, no, I'm gonna hold this until maybe it's the association president's house as the week, and that's when we'll do it.
I
I
see
mean,
what you're saying.
that's the problem.
I see what you're saying, but it's also the HOA's responsibility. We are not the adjusting board.
So,
Let's take this approach, maybe propose this, let's get more information. Pricing with the exact amount, I'd also like to see, do we actually have a contract providing water to Colfax? And that might take a little bit of research, but do we have a contract? Let's look and see what that contract says. If we don't. Yeah, yeah, so exactly. But then we have, yeah. Yeah.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to table this,
That's one thing. Oh,
That was kind of.
just if the adjustment factor is addressed, 'cause that's, I think the 12 months should be there. I can get the number of months, the initial water bill, so it's that adjustment factor.
And it still have to apply this policy.
Okay, just that you would keep that the same. Hey, no, it's just making sure.
So I'll make a motion because I don't feel like I have enough information, nothing's before me at all, other than this is a water adjustment policy. Because I think that's, I'm not gonna give everything, even if I were, I don't think I'm gonna give everything. We will share something, but I make a motion to table this until we have something written. I want some detail, and they have it, provide that to Tyson.
Tyson will have it, or
Let's put it up there. And part of this, I would like to hear from the HOA. As a second part of that, is
I agree with that.
to make, what are they thinking? I'd just like to hear that, whether it's.
I'm sure it's not yours, but I'd like to hear it out. And I'd like to see if we have a formal contract, or if they're just considered a customer, because they have a meeting.
I made a note to research that.
So that, put that as part of the, list as well. So 3 parts.
I'll second that.
Motion by Gibson, second by Arrington, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Thanks.
Go and take a shower.
I'm for football courts, demo and grading package for discussion, possible consideration to award football courts. Demolition and grading package, UK Bailey, the amount of $1,090.90. Reading.
Yes, so before you this evening and a long time coming into this is an awarding of the bid for the grading and I guess demolition really isn't part of it, sorry. Sorry, I should have had that sooner, is more grading and excavation. Tyson's crew was kind enough to demo all of the things needed for the project and it was the lowest bidder. Part of the reason being is Mickey Billy has generously expressed a willingness to contribute in kind to the project. And so this is, again, that first stage. Once this portion is completed, we'll be able to allow the finishes to settle for a few months and hopefully in process. And the intention is with timing, have a bid ready to go right prior to that so that we can get working on construction as soon as that is settled. There's no questions.
Yeah. Is there a dollar amount that is in kind, is this, and this, it's 127,000 plus, can we count that towards rent? I mean,
We did count it towards
so
rent.
what is that?
So, what the letter from EK Bailey Construction indicated was up to $90,000. So there,
So 90,000 plus.
I was,
Okay.
sorry.
So what was the second? Is that?
The second one we bid.
So it's
So
close
there's
to
like we
what, yeah, second bidder is.
And then we did have the additive alternate in there. We don't currently have funds secured for that option, so there's not a recommendation from staff to pursue that, but it is helpful to understand what the potential cost would be for the field.
But we're just considering the initial bid.
Without the additive alternate. Unless you'd like
So
to.
there's,
pursue that.
there's a factor with that second bid. And we brought that up. Is that been discussed anywhere?
Into the like next phase.
Part of
We discussed it among the pickleball, you know, that leading into the. And it's not.
and it probably isn't right.
Well,
They're only. Maybe on this, first phase. Then this week, they daily, and not 170.
I'll second that motion.
motion by Gibson, second by Uri. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So now that the bid is awarded, we can have a meeting with the contractors and set the schedule, and we'll be happy to let the council know.
I think I take the trees up because
No.
Not all of them, some of them.
Yeah.
we could utilize some of the.
The pine trees will ruin the forest, and we'll do that.
Big bench about it.
I just think let's just put
Trees in there forever.
they have, it's thinking,
They're gonna put the trees up.
Let's say make a bench out of them.
I'll get some
If I don't need a bench, I want mine made out of those trees.
You'll have to do.
No, this did include removing the trees.
I think, like Humphrey says, a little mill, like. So something else.
So it's a couple of West ones can stay there, right?
Where's the picture? It's
That's
like,
okay.
it's very intuitive.
Double it up there.
That area of the. Yeah, the roots on.
We're hoping to do it sooner than later. It's gonna have a southerly thing that we need.
Supposed to be 70 degrees next week.
We're estimating around.
All right, so we'll hurry and let him know that.
Absolutely.
Okay, item five is Sunpro site plan 352 North Road dedication, discussion and possible consideration to grant final acceptance to Sunpro site plan and 2550 North Road dedication in accordance with the adopted cost sharing and escrow agreement and subject to reimbursements being released to the city as outlined in said agreement. That's a mouthful.
Well, I kind of included the entire summary in the item. You just took away my thunder by overviewing the whole thing. So we're excited to see that the road is ready for final acceptance and Sunpro site plan as well. We do have a cost sharing agreement because this was a joint project between the city and Sunpro. And there is an escrow element contained with that with reimbursements to the city for various portions. So just ensuring that the city gets back the funding that it is deserved. We're really excited to get this wrapped up, and I don't know if there's any questions from discussions with Sunpro. It sounds like they're anticipating starting maybe December, January on construction.
What is the road dedication? What's that mean for 2550 North?
They had to give us part of that property to make the turn for the road.
Oh, so we're expanding that road.
Mhm.
And is 1000 West still gonna stay one way?
No, it's a two-way. It's been converted. I take advantage of it every time I go to Valley.
It's in that.
Are you one of those?
Huh? No, I didn't know
Okay,
that.
it's too late.
Oh, that's good.
It's all done.
Okay. Google Maps isn't. up there.
What kind of money are we talking about with escrow?
The remainder to be released,
Like 433,000 to us,
433,000.
somewhere around that.
What?
433,000, but it's, I mean, it's city funds, it's being released back to us, yeah. Yeah, no, it's been a great partnership and it's exciting to get that
But
wrapped up.
I'm so sorry for the people who didn't work, having to come and start building in December, but it'll be a cold state in It's just, it still just boggles my mind that they built their St. George facility through the summer and they're coming up here to build ours and they're, well, kind of a wood.
Here, I'd like to make a motion to adopt the cost sharing and escrow agreement as stated in the agenda to Sunpro site plan. Sign and grant plan.
Second.
Motion by Yuri, second by Nelson, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries, thanks. Item 6, recertification of Pleasant View City Justice Court. Discussion with possible. Are the Pleasant View City Justice Court Resolution 2023-M.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Before you this evening, and really appreciate all of the efforts that have gone in by Amanda Shipley, our court clerk, to pull this together. And we have before you a resolution to approve the recertification of our court. There's a couple of kind of housekeeping items relative to this that we're working on finalizing, just in accordance with the state requirements, but, I think
The most
Like,
important, like, this is the flag.
we will need to replace our flag, our state flag, that's a requirement.
Required to stay up, or is it just?
I said, we're asking all of you. No, everything else is maybe real flag.
Does that have to be a size or be separate, like?
It actually is site specific
Yes, it is.
with the tassel.
Have tassels in it.
So I don't, I mean,
You might, yeah.
That's pretty.
All right.
You can still have that one too.
any questions about recertification of the court?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2023 M and certification of the Portage City Justice.
Second.
Any.
Mayor, if anybody's not, Mayor, is anybody not?
Harold. Okay, a motion by Erickson, second by Nelson. This is the roll call vote. Erickson.
Yes.
Gibson. Yes. Gary. Nelson. Yes. Gary.
Yeah.
Motion passes. Item 7 is amended consolidated fee schedule. Schedule of consideration to amend the consolidated fee schedule to include a note for bidding document fees not collected by the city, but rather a city contractor for city projects. Resolution 2022-M.
Okay, this is a little bit of a cleanup item, just making sure that it's acknowledged in our fee schedule. So we typically have with a lot of our contracting bids, Jones and Associates put out the bids on behalf of the city. And in doing that, they do charge a fee to access the bidding documents, typically around $20. But it is a fee that does exist, and I guess this is just to ensure that there is acknowledgement of that in our fee schedule, because it is relative to city business. I don't know if there's any questions, but it doesn't set a specific amount, because sometimes they don't charge anything for the access to the documents, but they, from what I understand, typically charge about $20 for that access. And part of it is just a little bit like skin in the game to make sure that they're up on there, they acknowledge what they're doing and review the plans.
So if they get on their site and they want to come to this, is there another way to do it without doing that? No. Okay.
They, from what I understand, they've been doing them for a long time. We just haven't ever had anything in our fee schedule.
And part of it, just acknowledging
It was one of those things, do we need it or we don't need it? We decided we just put it in there as we said.
Charging it, yeah.
it's similar to the county fee, honestly, even though the county's the ones that are charging and assessing and taking that money. It's a service for the city that we're asking you to do, so it personally.
Any further discussion on entertainment motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve resolution 2023-N, amending the consolidated fee schedule.
I'll second that motion.
Motion by Aaron, second by Gary, further discussion? Roll call vote. Aaron.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yeah.
Mary. Yes. Nelson. Yes. Gary. Motion carries. But it's not funny. All right, item 8 is business license ordinance amendment. Business license ordinance. Discussion possible consideration to amend the business license ordinance to include the liquid utility accounts to the list of business license. Mention revocation for review to renew ordinance 2023-16. Laurie.
Yeah, if you notice in the ordinance, the red, we're just adding this as a reason not to renew, or we can suspend a business license. The background is that we do have businesses on the west side of Highway 89 that do not have culinary water from Pleasant View. And so usually we can just shut off the water and get things paid. We do have customers over there that are not paying their bills, and Bonavista will not shut off their water for us. But this is a way that we can say, hey, we're not going to issue a business license unless you are current on all your utility fees or any other fees with the city. and it might get attention. Otherwise, if we go to collections, they take like 30% of the fees and
So are we adding this entire section?
just the red, just H.
It's not red.
It's right here.
Oh, it's H,
Oh.
number H. Mine's red.
For any- as a note there, then
We did work with, John Gileman, an attorney, the contractor with the city, to get this language produced, so it's been reviewed by an attorney.
Yes.
You would?
Sounds like a good idea.
It sounds like you got a lot of covered in the pack. We could do it in a big weekend, right?
But then define what's good, you know, they should define something, so they're not paying your bills. So that's a good reason not to renew your license.
Mhm.
I don't know what that was actually.
You don't know.
Nonsense. All right, you made a motion?
Mary, but, make a motion to amend the business license ordinance to include delinquent utilities list. Yeah, I should just say ordinance. That's just, as stated.
I have a question for you. So Buena Vista, we're billing Buena Vista on the, are they bill or?
No, they bill them.
So
Buena Vista.
Bills,
But we bill them for sewer, storm sewer, the tough fees. But we don't have any leverage to have them pay the bills. If they're on our side, we just shut off their water and they pay within a day.
One of it's gonna do that.
But Bonavista won't do it for us.
Against legislation.
Huh.
You can't shut it off for another week.
Well, that would make sense.
They won't do it for us.
Yeah, they probably do it for their own system, but,
we had a second.
And motion for your second, Gibson. All opposed, roll call vote, starting Harrington.
Yes.
Gibson.
Yeah.
Mary. Yes. Nelson. Yes. Gary.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Item 9 is public hearing, to amend the budget. Discussion and possible consideration to amend the 2023-24 fiscal year budget for the 2023-4.
Mayor, I make a motion to go to the public hearing.
Open that one.
Motion by Hudson, second by Gary, all fair side.
Aye.
Is Laurie.
There is a new resolution. We did add an item to it. The first one is we are gonna increase the budget for the cemetery from 150 to 175,000. We have some CDL trainings that we need to do. They are about $4,000, $5,000 each to get the trainings done. But we are gonna work on some kind of agreement to go with it, that once the city pays for it, that they have to stay with the city for a year, whatever we come up with, to make sure it's not in vain for us just to train these people. The next one is Cassell Software. This is the first year that we have to electronically file our W-2s, 1099s. And so they do have a program for us. It's $1,000 and it's also for the state's filing. And that's $1,000 and it'll be $25 a month thereafter. So for this year, it'll be just 200. And then we will change the fund balance by $38,200 for those above items. In the park, is for some off-site cameras of $30,000. And there's also in the water fund, some off-site cameras for $40,000. And then the last item will be for, a server sequel for the Cassell, and that's about 2,000. Those are the changes.
I do too, go ahead.
The fire cameras, are those the ones that are already there?
No, Tyson can probably.
You wanna talk about that? Meeting.
Okay.
Also, just regarding, we haven't approved those amounts yet, we're just setting them aside, right? Because I do have, someone I want to connect us with on those, that knows about security cameras for the resident here in the city. They can help us get like the best camera for the best price and exactly what we need, so. Anyway, I'll bring that to you, but.
So this is just, yeah, not approving any expenditure.
Yeah, they're estimate based off of the old ones, so then there's some differences because you're doing.
Yeah, it's something we'll be bidding on.
Yes,
Okay,
yeah, I think,
so it's not just. We have to put it out to the public. Notice.
yes, we have to come back to do anything with. the funds, it's just for the budget.
I have a question on the CDL. Is that something we don't put in there? Is it because it's not every year?
They changed the legislation on the CDL rules, so now you have to go to a school for a class about, so roughly a week, 2 weeks long. You have to do their program that goes through the driving process, whereas in the past, you know, you paid $50, you got your, permit, or learner's permit, basically, and then you did your book testing of, just through the state. And then you could hire a third-party contractor to come and do all your driving skill tests. And they were generally $150, $200, but when they changed all those CDL rules after all those outcry from all the big CDL wrecks over the last few years, this was what they came up with, is you have to go through these approved courses.
Are these just renewals or are they new?
This is new.
These are new CDL.
Yeah, so then you go into a renewal process.
How many people are there?
So currently, we have two that we need to get CDLs that don't currently hold one. And then the amount for anticipating a third, if you lose somebody and you can't pick up somebody that already holds one. Then you can deal with that.
We did that before the snow flies then?
So we've been putting them in the 1 tons of the CDs, since it's one of those, you can do it with other means, but really for how often things break down, it's either way you're gonna run with smaller equipment, whether they're CDL holders or not. So generally one of those is out. One of the non-CDL peoples here, that's what they would put in. That's what
What's the server sequel for this?
That's a Jason thing that he gave to me. I don't know.
SQL.
SQL, that's what it's, yeah, it is SQL, it's not SQL.
Oh, okay.
So,
So is it server sequence?
Well, from what I
Mayor should be able to answer that one.
Well, what I understand with Cassell and our current server is it has limited capacity to kind of carry the load of the software, and even to the extent where if for some reason you needed to utilize the software offsite or an emergency scenario, we'd have some real problems using that offsite.
If it's server or SQL, SQL Express.
Server structured query language.
I'm like, oh, it's not actual SQL, it's SQL.
Alright.
That makes sense.
Other questions?
I didn't know.
If not, in your head.
To end the public hearing.
Oh, yeah, any members of the public? Yeah, I think the motion. My Gibson. Some sort of motion.
Motion to amend the fiscal year 2023-2024 budget resolution 2023-0 as discussed in the.
Second.
Change of SQL to be SQL.
Yes, sir. The change of SQL over to be having SQL.
Harrington.
Yes.
Gibson. Yes. Marriott. Yes. Elsie.
Yes.
Gary.
Yes.
Motion carried. Item 10, the storm drain easement act. The statement of law can be approved with amended storm drain easement relative to the Minnesota Shop development of 882 West Woodard Drive. Thanks.
This would be a cleanup item, the one that was presented and approved, was based off of a previous plan. So the one that's being presented is where the actual plan and where it's, I believe, currently installed. So just clean that up and get it in the right spot and sorry about the confusion.
This medical route, parking lot.
Any concerns?
No concerns, it's tied in based off the plan, that's tied in where we would have approved this item, just didn't get updated with that new plan. So it's where we want it to be, and this is just,
Mayor,
Oh, wait, Sugar Down Property.
Mayor,
The neighbor, that's Brad, that's strong market.
Wait, sorry.
the staff recommendation that you would want to include this, program, you investigated.
I guess it's second by Mary. Yeah. Any opposed?
Then you get start off.
Well, I'm hoping to submit our separate building permit in the next week or so, so spring. Something like that.
That's fine, sorry.
Yeah, hopefully,
Those
it's container, yeah. So once we get our permits done, we'll just drop the container, so we're trying to beat the weather for asphalt, that's really what we're trying to accomplish, right? Since they're gonna shut that down in a couple of weeks, so. We are hurting, so.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Item 11 is change order, veteran finance discussion, possible action to approve the change order with earthworks for veteran monument acres of amount of 4,700.
questioned the price that they came back with, to set all the papers, and do the border. Sort of in the north. East border, as they come in along the line. The drainage border. Is the polymeric sand that they were instructed they would do the minimal grout lines. And then go with,
The ground level is.
yes,
That seems like.
It does.
I just don't think that's.
What does that include, though? Is that includes, update of orders?
So we have a metal border. I don't think they're doing it underneath, are they?
yeah, they would just set gravel or sand,
Yeah, they do gravel.
then you
Sand out.
have that drain up by right there.
So they would just drain in that too.
No, but if let it. You didn't have a ponding over that paper, so it's coming in right. Where we talked about that being in the corner, so it should.
It's kind of papers cause us more weeds than anything. That seems like too much merit. I like that.
Well, what is the alternative?
That's
It's more than that, no, I would rather do it.
Change order.
We already paid them normally to do the thing.
Bill is shaking his head over there, he has a question.
Funny, man. I'm shaking my head.
So it's the same company that did it initially?
No,
No.
think that it's done the wrong.
Landscape.
Better than you.
Mayor,
Yeah, they've done great
Mayor,
work.
can I explain what we did? Does everybody know what we're talking about? So we have the papers that were next to the pedestal. Ugly, horrible,
And they're a hazard.
and so we were gonna incorporate them in this, something on the wall possibly, set them like brick or something. I thought, well, let's just put them out in that
You're talking about sponsor favors?
Sponsor.
They're all made out of grams.
So those are those, so I thought would be nice is to have them in a nice little paver field, just off
Kind of where you come down the handicap.
Right.
that there, and then really it's very simple. Instead, I mean, there's a little bit of work to set, you don't want to shift them back and forth. But that,
I don't know. I mean, I agree with this. I don't know. I've said this before, I don't know when the last time anybody did landscape work, but it's, the price doesn't surprise me, but I agree it's more than it should be.
well,
I agree with you, yes.
It's-
Like you said.
the sad thing is, you know, we want to get it finished, we put it off. So now I'm just saying, let's put it off for something else, I don't know. Or do we just pay to get it done?
Can we get a couple more sponsors to pay for it?
Oh, please no. Don't let this go on.
Well, we've already sucked everything out of that. This is,
Well, the council has reallocated some funding to this, some additional funding, and we do have the funding available to pursue.
That's
But
good.
How many favors do you call?
100 and something.
don't
Oh.
recognize.
It's like 20.
Well, those ones are 20, or are we talking about all of them?
Mm,
No,
Oh, I forgot I've got my computer. I can get that number for you right now.
Yeah, sure. 8x8 area.
So you're paying for labor, you're paying for some excavating, for setting.
Some of them are blank, too.
Not many. There's one blank of the papers, one large blank one, and it was to fill in the gaps prior. Let me,
We don't anticipate adding more to it. I know it's not something we're gonna have.
Not
not to the papers.
Most level to everything except for the dam.
no, they have to.
You have to-
There's 86 total papers.
What's left to do on the project?
We cover those walls.
Have you seen
We
the,
have responsible walls.
seen the pedestal? They look at that? It is amazing. It needed that.
When you come out of the basement, you go like this, those wings, we're gonna make those walls look pretty cool and put the sponsorship walls and stuff.
What's everybody's thought? I don't want to make the most, I don't want to say it, but I gotta get it done. If the money's there, we'll fight the bullet.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's times landscaping costs go down, so I think get it done.
That's not, I like that. That's not. Thanks.
Not this.
Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve this change order for the veteran monument.
I'll second that.
Motion by Gibson, second by Nelson, all fair side. Any opposed?
I love the fiscal consistency. I really do love it. I can see how much it's bothering both of you.
Even if you wanna go out to bid for another couple of companies, and you're really just gonna like go for it,
For which part? Do the papers. To do what, like to carve them or?
I'll take an interest, but I'd like to do it.
right?
I mean, yeah, it's just a matter
Are
of.
you talking about engraving?
I
or
like
actually
it with somebody that can more, if they, I'm hoping they have some kind of warranty on their work that.
Yeah, that's the part where you're getting is in your overall project. So you have your 1 year warranties, so if you have problems, if you do a walkthrough and any issues, you'll have to address.
They will not settle, or let's keep the information here, because they're wonky or settle anything we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If we got some more bids on it, then they may come down on that price, like, hey, we got these bids, like, would you match that and do it, or whatever?
They may, but they may walk away too.
They're done now.
yeah, they're looking to be gone. So they, I don't know if they stay, how late they stay, but even with the rock, they were just to the last quarter. So they'll want to do their walkthroughs and
Yeah, I mean, if it's a new company, they're gonna come and charge this much or more. And, but for these guys to do that change, it shouldn't be that high, that's just my. Yeah.
It's done.
I think we already did it, right?
We seconded it, we didn't vote. We don't.
We don't agree with all of them.
So, spend money spent.
Everybody knows that, man, from the practice fault.
There we go.
I
So. 4-1.
Now we know.
All right.
It's gonna look good, but I don't.
Fine, this is all about it.
Okay, if you like it, don't.
All right. And while the closed meeting, consideration for closed meeting, so one or more will be for the meetings.
Motion to go into closed meeting, or do we need one?
Yes, we do.
For which, yeah.
Yeah.
So character and competence.
Motion to go into closed meeting to discuss character and competence.
I'll second.
All right, that'll be a roll call, so motion by Mrs. Secretary.
Yes.
Yes.
That's it. So.
I'm gonna-
One probably go in there.